The cargo bay of the Zephyrian hunter vessel, Scarix, hummed with the low vibration of quantum engines as Captain Vex Thule examined his latest prize. The small human female couldn't be more than 12 cycles old by galactic standards. Her brown hair matted with dried tears, and her pale skin marked with bruises from the capture. She sat hunched in the corner of the containment cell, knees drawn to her chest, staring at nothing with hollow blue eyes. Another one for the consortium flesh markets. Vex Thule clicked his mandibles in satisfaction. The insectoid captain's forearms gestured to his second-in-command. The humans breed like parasites, but their young fetch premium prices. This one should cover our fuel costs for 3 cycles. First Officer Kretak nodded, his scaled head bobbing. The colony ship we raided had minimal defenses. These humans are pathetically weak. No wonder they're easy prey for the hunting fleets. The child hadn't spoken since they dragged her from the burning wreckage of her family's transport. Her parents had died fighting to protect her, their primitive kinetic weapons useless against Zephyrian energy shields. Now she was just another piece of cargo, destined for a life of slavery in the outer systems. What the hunters didn't know was that the small metal pendant around the girl's neck wasn't just a piece of jewelry. It was a bio-locked companion pod, a gift from her grandmother who had served in the Human Defense Corps during the Proxima conflicts. The old woman had insisted young Emma wear it always, claiming it would protect her when she needed it most. As the ship's artificial gravity hummed and the lights dimmed for the night cycle, Emma finally lifted her head. She touched the pendant with trembling fingers, remembering her grandmother's words, "When the darkness comes, little one, and there's nowhere left to run, press the center and call for your guardian. But remember, once awakened, there's no going back." The pendant felt warm against her palm. Through the transparent aluminum walls of her cell, she could see the alien crew moving about their duties. The massive Zephyrian guards paid her no attention, confident that a small human child posed no threat to a ship full of seasoned hunters. Emma closed her eyes and pressed the center of the pendant. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a soft blue light began to pulse from within the metal. The light grew brighter, and a low humming sound filled the air. The pendant cracked open like a flower blooming, revealing a small crystalline core that glowed with inner fire. From the crystal emerged a shimmer of light that began to take shape. First came the stocky body, low to the ground and built for power. Then the distinctive white stripe down the back, contrasting with the dark gray fur. Sharp claws materialized, designed for digging and fighting. Finally, the wedge-shaped head appeared, with small, dark eyes that held an intelligence far beyond any natural animal. The honey badger stretched, shook itself, and looked around the cell with keen interest. It was no ordinary creature. This was a genetically enhanced biocompanion, created by human military scientists and encoded with the tactical knowledge of 1,000 battles. Its DNA had been spliced with human neural patterns, giving it not just animal instincts, but strategic thinking and an unbreakable loyalty to its bonded human. "Hello, little guardian," Emma whispered, reaching out her hand. The honey badger approached without fear, nuzzling her palm with its snout. As their skin made contact, Emma felt a surge of warmth and strength flow through her. The bio-bond was establishing itself, linking their nervous systems in a partnership that went beyond the physical. The honey badger's name came to her mind as if she had always known it. Ranger. Her grandmother's companion from the wars, now awakened to serve a new generation. Through their mental link, Emma could feel Ranger's assessment of their situation. The creature's enhanced intelligence was already calculating escape routes, cataloging threats, and formulating a plan of action. The guards hadn't noticed the materialization yet. The honey badger was small enough to remain hidden in the shadows of the cell, and its biosignature was designed to mask itself from most standard sensors. But Ranger was taking note of everything: the number of crew members, their patrol patterns, the layout of the ship, the location of critical systems. "We're trapped," Emma whispered to her new companion. "There are dozens of them, and they have weapons and armor. How can we possibly escape?" Through their bond, she felt Ranger's response. Not words, but concepts and emotions. Confidence, determination, the absolute certainty that no prison could hold them, no enemy could defeat them. Honey badgers were legendary for their fearlessness and tenacity, and this enhanced specimen carried those traits to an extreme that few aliens could comprehend. The next morning's cycle began with the usual routine. Guards brought Emma a bowl of nutritional paste and a cup of water, standard rations for cargo. They barely glanced at her as they slid the meal through the food slot, their attention focused on their communication devices and duty schedules. They didn't see the small gray shape that slipped through the shadows behind them. Ranger had spent the night cycle exploring. The honey badger's enhanced intelligence allowed it to understand the ship's basic systems, while its natural ability to squeeze through impossibly small spaces gave it access to areas the crew thought were secure. It had mapped the entire vessel, identified key personnel, and located the ship's most vulnerable points. The creature's military programming came online as it moved through the ship's ventilation system. Enhanced honey badgers had been used in special operations during the human wars. Their ability to infiltrate enemy positions and strike with surgical precision, making them invaluable assets. Ranger carried the genetic memory of those battles, the accumulated experience of its predecessors encoded in its DNA. The first target was the ship's communication array. The honey badger's claws, enhanced with metallic compounds, sliced through fiber optic cables with surgical precision. The damage would go unnoticed until the crew tried to contact their base, by which time it would be too late. Next came the environmental controls. Ranger's small size allowed it to access the atmospheric processing unit directly. A few carefully placed punctures in the oxygen recycling system would create a slow leak, nothing dangerous but enough to trigger emergency protocols when combined with other system failures. The creature moved through the ship like a ghost, its biosignature scrambler keeping it invisible to sensors, while its enhanced intelligence guided it to maximum effect targets. The Zephyrians had built their ship to defend against external threats, never imagining that an enemy might already be inside their vessel. As the second-day cycle began, Captain Vexthul was reviewing shipping manifests when the first alarms started sounding. Red lights flashed throughout the bridge as his communications officer reported system failures across multiple departments. "Sir, we've lost long-range communications. The array appears to have suffered cascade failures in 3 primary nodes. Atmospheric processors are showing irregularities," added another crew member. "Oxygen levels are dropping slowly but consistently." Vexthul's mandibles clicked in annoyance. "Run full diagnostics on all systems. This better not be another cascade failure like the one that cost us 2 weeks in space dock." What he didn't know was that Ranger was just getting started. The honey badger's enhanced intelligence had identified the crew's reliance on automated systems and their overconfidence in their ship's security. Now it was time to exploit those weaknesses systematically. Emma felt every move her companion made through their neural link. She could sense Ranger's satisfaction as each target fell to its claws and teeth. The biobond allowed her to see through the creature's eyes, to experience its absolute fearlessness as it moved through a ship full of beings that could crush it with one hand. But honey badgers don't care about size or odds. They care about protecting what matters to them. And right now, the most important thing in Ranger's world was the small human girl who needed to go home. The real hunt was about to begin. The third day brought chaos to the Scarix. What had started as minor system failures was escalating into ship-wide emergencies that had Captain Vex Thul's crew scrambling to maintain basic operations. The life support systems were functioning, but barely. Navigation was sporadic. Weapon systems kept cycling offline without explanation. "Sir, we've lost another power coupling on Deck 4, reported Engineering Chief Nexalon, his six-armed frame hunched over diagnostic displays. "That's the 8th one this cycle. The damage patterns make no sense. It's like something is systematically targeting our infrastructure." Vex Thul studied the reports with growing unease. His experience as a hunter had taught him to recognize patterns, and this felt deliberate. But what could possibly infiltrate a ship full of armed Zephyrians? Their sensors showed no unauthorized life forms, no signs of sabotage equipment. In her cell, Emma sat quietly, her hand resting on Ranger's back as the honey badger groomed itself. To any observer, she appeared to be a broken child, seeking comfort from an imaginary friend. The guards couldn't see Ranger unless the creature chose to reveal itself. The bio-companion's advanced camouflage making it essentially invisible to alien perception. Through their bond, Emma experienced every moment of Ranger's campaign. She felt the creature's satisfaction as it chewed through another critical cable, its enhanced teeth designed to cut through materials that would stop normal tools. She shared its tactical assessment of crew movements, watched through its eyes as it mapped security weak points. The honey badger had learned the ship's routines better than most of the crew. It knew when the guards changed shifts, which passages were monitored, where the automated systems had blind spots. Every night it grew bolder, striking at targets deeper in the ship's structure. "Ranger thinks we can escape tonight," Emma whispered to herself, feeling the creature's confidence through their neural link. The cargo bay doors, the shuttle hangar, maybe steal one of their ships. But Ranger transmitted a different emotion back to her. Not escape. Justice. The honey badger's enhanced intelligence had been analyzing the ship's computer systems, accessing databases through damaged terminals. What it found there made its programming shift from rescue mode to something far more aggressive. The Scarix wasn't just a random hunter vessel. It was part of a fleet that specialized in raiding human colonies, stealing children for the slave markets. The ship's records contained images and data from dozens of raids, hundreds of human families destroyed, thousands of children torn from their parents and sold to the highest bidders. Emma's capture was just the latest in a long line of atrocities committed by this crew. Through their bond, Emma felt Ranger's rage. The bio-companion's loyalty programming had evolved beyond simple protection. These aliens had hurt its human. They had hurt other humans. That made them enemies that needed to be eliminated. "No, Ranger," Emma tried to communicate through their link. "We just need to get away. We don't have to hurt them." The honey badger paused in its grooming, fixing her with dark eyes that held far too much intelligence for any natural animal. Through their bond came a series of images and concepts: the burning colony ships, the screaming families, the market records showing what happened to children who were sold. Emma's gentle nature warred with the tactical assessments flowing through their shared consciousness. Ranger was right. Running away would save her, but it wouldn't stop the Scarix from raiding more colonies, stealing more children. Her grandmother had been a soldier in the Human Defense Corps, fighting to protect innocent people from exactly this kind of predator. "What do you want to do?" she asked finally. Ranger's response came as a flood of tactical plans and system schematics. The honey badger had identified the ship's critical vulnerability, the quantum reactor that powered their engines and weapons. A precisely placed explosive charge in the reactor's cooling system would cause a cascade failure that would cripple the vessel permanently. Without engines, the Scarix would drift helplessly in space until a rescue vessel arrived, its crew alive but their hunting days over. But creating that explosive charge required materials that only existed in the ship's armory, protected by multiple security systems and armed guards. Emma felt her fear spike. "That's impossible. Even you can't fight trained soldiers with weapons." Through their bond came something that might have been amusement. Honey badgers had been known to drive off lions, to fight venomous snakes and win, to take on opponents many times their size without backing down. Enhanced honey badgers had once cleared entire enemy bunkers during the Proxima conflicts, their combination of fearlessness and intelligence making them unstoppable forces of nature. Ranger began transmitting detailed plans. The armory's ventilation system connected to the main air recycling plant, where the honey badger had already established multiple access points. The security systems relied on motion sensors calibrated for bipedal intruders, not small quadrupeds moving through maintenance spaces. The guards were overconfident, used to dealing with threats from outside the ship rather than within. As night cycle approached, Emma felt her companion's anticipation building. This wasn't just about escape anymore. It was about justice for all the families this crew had destroyed, all the children they had stolen. Her grandmother's bio-companion was about to remind these alien hunters why humans had earned such a fearsome reputation during the wars. The first sign of trouble came when the guards discovered Guard Sergeant Tixalon unconscious in the corridor outside the armory. The large reptilian soldier was alive but completely paralyzed, strange puncture wounds on his neck already beginning to heal. Security alarms blared as medical teams rushed to his aid. "What could do this?" demanded Captain Vex Thule as he studied the unconscious guard. "Tixalon is a veteran hunter, trained in combat against dozens of species. What kind of weapon leaves wounds like these?" Dr. Velasha, the ship's medical officer, ran her scanner over the puncture marks. "These appear to be bite marks, but from what? The venom is unlike anything in our databases. It's not lethal, but it completely shuts down voluntary muscle control." Vex Thule's mandibles clicked nervously. First the system failures. Now his guards were being attacked by something that could deliver precise, non-lethal strikes. His hunter instincts were screaming warnings, but he still couldn't identify the threat. In the armory, Ranger moved through shadow and silence. The honey badger's enhanced physiology included modified salivary glands that could produce various chemical compounds, including a paralytic agent derived from Earth's most venomous creatures. One precise bite to a nerve cluster was enough to drop even the largest alien guard without causing permanent damage. The creature's enhanced intelligence guided it to exactly what it needed: military-grade explosive charges used for breaching operations. The honey badger's dexterous claws could manipulate complex devices despite their small size, another enhancement from its military breeding program. Within minutes, it had assembled a shaped charge capable of precisely targeting the reactor's cooling system. But as Ranger prepared to leave the armory, motion sensors finally detected its presence. Emergency lights bathed the chamber in red as security doors began sliding shut. The honey badger found itself trapped in a sealed room with armed guards converging on its position. Any normal animal would have panicked. Ranger simply shifted into combat mode. The first guards through the door expected to find an intruder, maybe a maintenance droid gone rogue. What they found was 2 feet of genetically enhanced fury moving faster than their eyes could track. Ranger's enhanced muscular system allowed it to leap incredible distances, its metallic claws finding nerve clusters with surgical precision. The Zephyrian guards fell one after another, their weapons useless against a target too small and too fast for their training. The honey badger moved between their legs, behind their armor, striking with calculated efficiency. Each bite delivered just enough venom to paralyze without killing. Each claw strike targeted to disable rather than destroy. Within minutes, the armory was filled with unconscious guards, while Ranger sat calmly in the center of the room, cleaning its claws. The explosive charge was secured in a specialized pouch on its bioharness, ready for deployment. Security footage of the encounter reached Captain Vexthul within minutes, leaving the experienced hunter staring in disbelief at his view screen. "What is that thing?" he demanded. "Some kind of human war beast?" His database searches turned up legends and rumors from the Proxima conflicts, stories of small Earth creatures that fought with the fury of demons and the intelligence of tactical computers. Most military analysts had dismissed such tales as propaganda, but the evidence was undeniable. Somehow, a human bioweapon was loose on his ship. "Lock down all critical systems," Vexthul ordered. "Seal every access point. Whatever that creature is planning, we're going to stop it." But honey badgers don't give up, and enhanced honey badgers never back down from a fight. Through their neural link, Emma felt Ranger's grim satisfaction as it began its final approach to the reactor chamber. The explosive charge would end the Scarix's career as a hunter vessel, stranding it in space, but keeping the crew alive. Justice, without unnecessary killing, exactly the kind of precisely calculated response her grandmother would have approved of. The real battle was just beginning. The quantum reactor chamber of the Scarix hummed with barely contained energy as Ranger approached through the maintenance tunnels. The honey badger's enhanced senses could detect the radiation patterns, the electromagnetic fields that would kill most biological organisms within minutes. But its modified physiology included radiation resistance, another gift from the military geneticists who had created the Bio-Companion program. Captain Vexthul had deployed his entire security force around the reactor chamber, turning the area into a fortress. Motion sensors covered every approach, energy weapons were charged and ready, and the corridors echoed with the click of mandibles and the hiss of nervous breathing. The Zephyrian captain knew his ship was under attack by something beyond his experience, and he was making his final stand at the most critical location. "Sir, we're detecting movement in Access Tunnel 7, reported Security Chief Caxthor, his compound eyes scanning multiple displays. "The creature is definitely heading for the reactor." Vexthul's forearms gestured commands to his troops. "Seal every tunnel. Fill them with stun gas. I don't care what that thing is, it's not getting to my engines." What the alien hunters didn't understand was that honey badgers were designed by nature to dig through obstacles, to find ways where none existed. Enhanced honey badgers took that ability to levels that defied comprehension. Ranger's claws could cut through metal. Its compact body could squeeze through spaces barely larger than its skull, and its enhanced intelligence could analyze structural weaknesses in real time. The creature didn't use the obvious tunnels. Instead, it created new ones. Emma felt every moment through their neural link as Ranger carved its way through the ship's hull, following power conduits and support beams that the designers never intended as access routes. The honey badger's enhanced metabolism allowed it to work continuously without rest, its modified cardiovascular system filtering out toxins and radiation that would have stopped any normal creature. Through their bond, she experienced the strange sensation of chewing through quantum-resistant polymers, the taste of exotic metals on enhanced teeth. She felt Ranger's absolute determination, the kind of focused aggression that had made honey badgers legendary among Earth's wildlife. "They can't stop you, can they?" Emma whispered to herself, feeling a fierce pride in her companion. Her grandmother's stories had always seemed like fairy tales, but now she understood why the Human Defense Corps had been respected throughout the galaxy. When humans fought, they didn't just use weapons and ships. They used their bond with other species, the ancient partnership between human and animal that had built civilization itself. The first indication that Ranger had breached their defenses came when alarms started blaring in the reactor chamber. Security Chief Caxthor studied his sensors in confusion as readings spiked and fluctuated across his displays. "The containment field is destabilizing," shouted Engineer Nexalon from his control station. Something is interfering with the primary stabilizers. Captain Vex Thule felt his blood run cold. The reactor's containment field was what kept the quantum reaction from consuming his ship. If it failed, they would all be vaporized in microseconds. Lock down everything! Emergency protocols now! But Ranger wasn't attacking the containment field directly. The Honey Badger's enhanced intelligence had identified a much more elegant solution. The reactor's cooling system relied on a series of precisely calibrated heat exchangers, and those exchangers were protected by much lighter security than the main chamber. The creature worked with surgical precision, its enhanced claws and teeth opening specific panels, its shaped explosive charge placed exactly where it would cause maximum damage with minimum risk to the ship's crew. The Honey Badger had studied the schematics downloaded from the ship's computers, analyzing every component until it understood the system better than the engineers who built it. When the charge detonated, the explosion was surprisingly small. A focused blast that severed 3 critical cooling lines while leaving the main reactor structure intact. The quantum reaction didn't fail catastrophically. Instead, it began a controlled shutdown sequence as emergency systems detected the cooling failure. The Scarix shuddered as its engines went offline. Emergency lighting bathed the corridors in red as backup power systems struggled to maintain life support. Within minutes, the mighty hunter vessel had become a drifting hulk, alive but helpless. "Status report," demanded Captain Vex Thule as his bridge crew scrambled to assess the damage. "Engines are offline," reported the navigation officer. "The quantum reactor has shut down automatically. We're running on emergency power only." "How long until we can restart?" Engineer Nexalon's expression was grim as he studied damage reports. "The cooling system has been surgically destroyed. We're looking at weeks of repairs, assuming we can get replacement parts. Without a shipyard, we're not going anywhere." Through their neural link, Emma felt Ranger's satisfaction as the creature made its way back through the ship's infrastructure. The mission was complete. The Scarix would never raid another colony, never steal another child. The crew was alive but stranded, dependent on rescue vessels to reach them before their emergency supplies ran out. But the Honey Badger's tactical programming had identified one more objective. The ship's communication array was still partially functional, and there were important messages that needed to be sent. As Ranger accessed the communication system through damaged terminals, Emma felt her companion's enhanced intelligence interfacing with the alien technology. The Bio-Companion's programming included basic electronic warfare capabilities, allowing it to navigate computer systems and extract information. The Honey Badger transmitted 2 messages into space. The first went to the nearest Human Defense Corps station, a detailed report on the Scarix location and the evidence of its crimes. The second went to the Galactic Justice Council, containing the complete database of the ship's raids, including the locations of slave markets and the names of collaborators. Justice would be served, not just for Emma, but for all the victims of this crew's predations. Captain Vex Thule was reviewing damage reports when his communications officer reported an incoming transmission. "Sir, we're receiving a message from the Human Defense Corps. They're demanding our surrender and offering assistance to any human prisoners aboard." The captain's mandibles clicked in confusion. How could they know our position? Our long-range communications have been offline for days. Before anyone could answer, another alarm sounded. This one came from the cargo bay, where something had just triggered the containment cell's emergency release. Emma walked out of her prison with Ranger padding silently beside her, finally visible to anyone who cared to look. The Honey Badger's camouflage systems were offline, revealing the creature in all its compact, dangerous glory. Its dark eyes held the satisfaction of a predator that had successfully protected its pack. The guards in the cargo bay raised their weapons, but hesitated when they saw the small human girl. Their sensors had detected the energy signatures of an incoming Human Defense Corps squadron, ships that would arrive within hours. Shooting a human child while rescue was imminent seemed like a poor tactical decision. "Hello," Emma said quietly, her voice stronger than it had been since her capture. "My name is Emma Chen, and this is Ranger. We're going home now." Through their neural link, she felt her companion's protective presence, the absolute certainty that nothing would ever harm her again. The biobond had awakened something in both of them, a partnership that went beyond human and animal to something greater than the sum of its parts. The Zephyrian guards lowered their weapons and stepped aside. There was something in the girl's eyes now, a quiet confidence that reminded them of the human soldiers they'd faced in the wars. She was no longer prey. She was something much more dangerous. When the Human Defense Corps ships arrived 6 hours later, they found the Scarix drifting helplessly in space with its crew peacefully surrendered. The hunter vessel's reign of terror was over, ended not by a massive fleet or powerful weapons, but by a small girl and her loyal companion. Emma stood in the transport shuttle as it carried her away from the alien ship, watching through the viewport as justice ships surrounded the Scarix. Ranger sat beside her, finally at rest after days of relentless action. "Thank you," she whispered, stroking the honey badger's fur. Through their bond came a wave of contentment, the satisfaction of a guardian who had fulfilled its purpose. The pendant around her neck had gone dark, its bio-companion now manifested in physical form. But Emma knew that when the time came, Ranger would return to its crystalline matrix, waiting to emerge again whenever she needed protection. As the rescue ships jumped to hyperspace, carrying her back to human territory, Emma thought about her grandmother's stories. The old woman had been right about the pendant, about the guardian waiting inside. But more than that, she'd been right about what it meant to be human. Humans didn't just survive in a hostile galaxy. They thrived, forming bonds with other species that multiplied their strength. They protected the innocent, fought for justice, and never backed down from creatures that thought them weak. The hunter ship had captured a human child, expecting to find easy prey. Instead, they had discovered why humanity commanded respect throughout the galaxy. Not because humans were the strongest or the fastest or the most numerous, but because when you cornered a human, when you threatened someone they loved, you didn't just face the individual. You faced their guardian, their partner, their bond brother or sister. You faced the accumulated strength of a species that had never learned to surrender. Emma smiled as the stars streaked past, her hand resting on Ranger's back. The galaxy was vast and dangerous, full of predators who thought humans were weak. They were about to learn otherwise. Somewhere in the distance, other children were being held by other hunters. Other families were crying for their stolen loved ones. But word would spread now, carried by the survivors of the Scarix, and the records seized by the Justice Council. The humans were no longer prey. The hunt had begun, and this time, humanity was the predator. The honey badger lifted its head and looked at Emma with those dark, intelligent eyes. Through their bond came a single concept, clear and unmistakable. Ready. Emma nodded, understanding flooding through their connection. This was just the beginning. There were more hunters out there, more children to save, more justice to serve. And they would face it all together, the human girl and her guardian, bound by loyalty, stronger than any chain and fiercer than any weapon the galaxy had ever known. The rescue ships carried them home through the stars. But home wasn't a place anymore. Home was the unbreakable bond between species, the partnership that had carried humanity from a single world to an empire among the stars. Home was knowing that no matter how dark things got, no matter how impossible the odds, humanity never fought alone.